For the introductions, let's go down to Tom Hammond.
All right, Dick, number one in our full field for the sprint is Senior Speedy, half of the entry trained by D. Wayne Lucas, who leads all trainers with 10 Breeders' Cup winners. This 3-year-old colt has won 3 in a row at Belmont, but against weaker opposition. 1A is Carson City, owned by W.T. Young, one of Lexington, Kentucky's most prominent citizens. He started his fortune by selling a peanut butter business. Carson City ran the best race of his career in the Boojum Handicap here at Belmont 2 weeks ago, 6 furlongs, 108 flat. Number 2, Adjudicating, ran 11th last year in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile in the colors of Denny Phipps, but he's recently been sold for a reported $4.5 million to Susumu Kawakami of Japan. He's ridden today by Japan's Hiroshi Kawachi. Adjudicating has won only once this year. Number 3, Shaker Knit, is owned by the Chouse stable of Bernard and Josephine Chouse, whose company is one of the world's largest manufacturers of women's clothing. This horse has but a single win in 1990. Number 4, Dargai, has raced exclusively in Canada this year, where he's won his last 2 races. Canadian Brian Swatuk has his first Breeders' Cup mount. Number 5 is the reigning champion sprinter, Safely Kept, who oddly enough earned her Eclipse Award after a defeat in last year's sprint. That gutty second to Dancing Spree, her only loss of the year. Safely Kept, owned by Barry Weisbord, has tasted defeat twice this year, both times to colts. She was 4th to Carson City in the Boojum as Craig Perret attempted to rate her. So much for that experiment. Today, they send her. Number 6, Corwin Bay, is principally owned by R.D. Hubbard, who was born in Smith Center, Kansas, the geographical center of the United States. And Corwin Bay knows geography. He won over $700,000 in Ireland as a 2-year-old last year. He's been impressive in his only 2 starts of 1990, 2 sprints in California. Number 7, Prospector's Gamble, was beaten 4 lengths by Corwin Bay at Santa Anita, where he did race on Lasix. Now, that anti-bleeding medication is not permitted in New York. We'll deal with the whole issue of Lasix later in the show, but in the post-parade, we'll show you graphically horses that raced on Lasix in their last start. By the way, jockey Gary Stevens is closing in on the single-season earnings record over $14.8 million set by Jose Santos in '88. Number 8, Dancing Spree, won the sprint last year, and like last year, he has not won in his last 4 races. He was so bad early in his career that Shug McGahee tried to give him away. Angel Cordero, by the way, looks for 3 straight sprint wins and a repeat on Dancing Spree. Number 9, Mr. Nickerson, owned by Robert Nixon. His wife Agnes writes the soap operas All My Children and One Life to Live. Mr. Nickerson was 11th in the sprint last year. This is his last race. Number 10, Black Tie Affair, was 8th in the 1989 sprint. He'll be ridden by Lafitte Pinkai today. Pinkai leads all jockeys with 5 Breeders' Cup wins. Number 11 is Dayjur, the European sprint champion. He's been training at Lingfield in England on the dirt and around turns. He's won 5 in a row, and he makes his first U.S. start his last. After today, he retires to Sheikh Hamdan's Nashwan Stud in Kentucky. His jockey, Willie Carson, is a pilot. He knows a jet when he sees one. He says this is the world's fastest horse. Number 12, Potentiality, hadn't won a race until April of this year. Now he's won 5. One of his owners, Tex Sutton, is famous for transporting racehorses, first by rail and now about 3,000 per year by air. Number 13, Glitterman, owned by Sandy Sanders, who has a company that manufactures vacuum cleaners. And he's cleaned up with this horse to the tune of nearly $500,000. Winner of 3 races, he's come up short, however, in several major events. 6 furlong dash, a full field of 14. Dick, that's the field for the Breeders' Cup Sprint.
All right, Tom, let's see who the fans favor here at Belmont. Senior Speedy, Carson City, the entry at 8-1. Some big prices. Adjudicating, Shaker Knit, Dargai, Safely Kept, the filly at 10-1. Corwin Bay is the current favorite at 5-2, although same odds are on Dayjur, the European speedster. The Bullet, they say, is the fastest in the world. We'll find out today. And Glitterman, the bottom horse, at 18-1. Now let's meet the rest of
Wait a second, Frank. Wait a second.
And they're off. And Safely Kept goes right to the lead. The filly champion quickly opens up here by 2 lengths. And on the far outside, Dayjur is right there, and Glitterman is also mixing it up. Dayjur mixing it up now with his American rivals. Carson City is up close to the pace. He's running along in 4th position. Potentiality is 5th. Dargai is now racing in 6th position. Mr. Nickerson has fallen. We have a spill on the turn. Shaker Knit went down, and Mr. Nickerson also down on the track. Spill on the far turn, and now the field moving toward the top of the stretch. It's Dayjur fighting it out with last year's champion, Safely Kept. The English champion now has taken a short lead as they come to the top of the stretch. Safely Kept is right there in behind them. Glitterman is now running along in third. Black Tie Affair sweeps to the outside. Then Prospectors Gamble and Carson City. They hooked up at the start. They're still going at it. Safely Kept on the inside. Brave down to the final furlong. On the outside, Dayjur, and neither giving way. A dramatic confrontation here as they come down to the final 16th. And it is Dayjur who forges to the front. Safely Kept coming back at him. And Dayjur took a bad step 10 feet from the wire. And Safely Kept comes on to snatch the victory in the final stride in this Breeders' Cup sprint, which was marred by an accident as the field moved into the far turn. We will have an inquiry into this race. Shaker Knit went down, and I believe it was also Mr. Nickerson. Those two horses have fallen as they move on to the far turn. Unofficially here, it is Safely Kept in the sprint.
Well, let's look at the spill and see if we can find out what happened. Shaker Knit, you see, goes down right there. And Mr. Nickerson then stumbles over the fallen horse, we believe. We didn't get a very good shot. We could only see the one horse go down there on the back stretch. Now, as we move to the stretch run, though, the two speedballs, Dayjur on the outside, Safely Kept on the rail. Dayjur gets ahead in front and seems to be on his way to victory. Willie Carson hits him a couple of times right-handed, but Safely Kept comes right back as Dayjur jumped a shadow. Dayjur jumped a shadow on the dirt track. He took that funny step and enabled Safely Kept to come back and get the win. Safely Kept to the wire in front, and I believe it was the shadow on the track that cost Dayjur the victory.
Safely Kept 26, 48, 20, and 580. Dayjur 560 to place and 4 to show. Black Tie Affair. His supporters